impracticable sacrifices to maintain it. Consider that thy time is short, and that business and company must not be allowed to rob thee of thy God. Impossible, say we fanatical directions. But Dr. Judson changed an empire for Christ and laid the foundations of God's kingdom with imperishable granite in the heart of Burma. He was successful, one of the few men who mightily impressed the world for Christ. Numerous individuals with more talent, genius, and education have failed to leave a lasting mark. Their spiritual efforts are as fleeting as footprints in the sand. In contrast, his work is etched into the hardest stone, enduring and profound. The key to its lasting impact lies in his dedication to prayer. He kept the iron red hot with prayer, and God's skill fashioned it with enduring power. No man can do a great and enduring work for God who is not a man of prayer, and no man can be a man of prayer who does not give much time to praying. Yes, Canon Liddon's perspective resonates with many who truly engage in prayer. He suggests that prayer is far from a mechanical habit or a passive sentiment, but rather a profound engagement with an unseen power. He draws parallels to the struggles of biblical figures like Jacob and St. Paul, emphasizing the intensity and importunity required in successful prayer. Liddon highlights the necessity of fervor, perseverance, and earnestness in approaching prayer, viewing it as a labor that demands dedication and preparation. This view counters the notion that prayer is merely a superficial or rote exercise, instead portraying it as a dynamic and transformative act that requires commitment and spiritual effort. Chapter 9. Rise early, get out of bed, and seek the Lord. Robert Murray McShane.
I ought to pray before seeing anyone. Often when I sleep long or meet with others early, it is 11 or 12 o'clock before I begin secret prayer. This is a wretched system. It is unscriptural. Christ arose before day and went into a solitary place. David says, "Early will I seek thee, thou shalt early hear my voice." Family prayer loses much of its power and sweetness, and I can do no good to those who come to seek from me. The conscience feels guilty, the soul unfed, the lamp not trimmed. Then, when in secret prayer, the soul is often out of tune. I feel it is far better to begin with God, to see His face first, to get my soul near Him before it is near another.
The men who have done the most for God in this world have been early on their knees. He who fritters away the early morning, its opportunity and freshness in other pursuits than seeking God, will make poor headway seeking Him the rest of the day. If God is not first in our thoughts and efforts in the morning, He will be in the last place the remainder of the day. Behind this early rising and early praying is the ardent desire which presses us into this pursuit after God. Morning listlessness is the index to a listless heart. The heart which is behindhand in seeking God in the morning has lost its relish for God. David's heart was ardent after God. He hungered and thirsted after God, and so he sought God early, before daylight. The bed and sleep could not chain his soul in its eagerness after God. Christ longed for communion with God, and so, rising a great while before day, he would go out into the mountain to pray. The disciples, when fully awake and ashamed of their indulgence, would know where to find him. We might go through the list of men who have mightily impressed the world for God, and we would find them early after God. A desire for God, which cannot break the chains of sleep, is a weak thing, and will do but little good for God after it has indulged itself fully. The desire for God that keeps so far behind the devil and the world at the beginning of the day will never catch up. It is not simply the getting up that puts men to the front,